everyone, welcome to another episode of Sugar-Free Self-Care TV. On today's episode, I'm so excited to introduce a special guest. This is my client and superstar, Nicola. So she has been working with me for a few months now, and I have a bittersweet feeling like this is the end of our coaching journey, but the beginning for her and all the possibilities and all the goals that she's about to accomplish. So welcome, Nicola, to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to do this.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you accepted. Like, not everyone wants to join. Some people are camera shy, so I really do appreciate it.
I mean, our whole relationship is on this camera. I'm so used to it now.
Oh, good. Whew, thank goodness. All right, so in this show, you guys, I'm gonna just ask Nicola a series of questions that will really talk a little bit more about, what it was like for her to go through my program, like what her before was like, her during and after, and just to help anyone see, what it's like to really go through this journey. Because I think with you, Nicola, before you started working with me, were you eating sugar-free at all? Like what was your before like?
No. I was stress eating. I am an entrepreneur, so I own my own business, and I had become very accustomed to eating as the way to deal with the stress in my business. I became just truly an emotional eater. I'm very accomplished in other areas of my life. I run my practice. I've done well in school, all these places. And so I kept thinking, why can I not master this? Like, why is this area of my life just out of control? I deal with some very hard stuff. As an attorney in the court system, sometimes we have to make some really, really tough decisions and deal with some stuff for our clients that I think people don't really think about the lawyers involved. They think about the clients, and we take on a lot of it. And so that was how I was dealing with it. I was eating, and I mean, for 5 years, I had a Chick-fil-A habit where I was going through the drive-through and getting a large milkshake at the end of my work week, because that's how I was like, okay, I need to numb this to then go and deal with my real life. So no, not at all eating sugar-free.
That's so crazy though, because like, weren't you afraid? Because I'm like the sugar-free self-care. Like when people just hear my name, they already like shaking their boots and stuff. So like, were you afraid of going sugar-free, or what was that final push that helped you to sign up with me?
I knew I needed to go sugar-free. I knew that my family has a long history of diabetes, and as I was getting closer to a milestone birthday, I just kept thinking about, like, is that really what you want for yourself? Like, I have small kids, and I just kept thinking, like, the idea of having to be on insulin or medication, I was like, I need to figure out how to cut the sugar. Like, it's just something in me that kept saying, like, you're on a very dangerous path. And if we don't come up with a solution, like, but the idea of going sugar-free scared the shit out of me. Let me be very clear.
Right. And how would you describe now, because we've worked together for a few months and you've found a way of eating that really works for your lifestyle. Like, how would you describe how you're eating now to people who think it's very depriving or very restrictive? Like, what is your way of eating like right now?
So right now, I pretty much don't get hungry till about 4 o'clock. So between 4 and 8 o'clock is pretty much my eating window. It is, I guess, considered intermittent fasting. But it is really kind of being in tune with, okay, what are you wanting? What is it that you're actually, what's going to be enjoyable? So sometimes it is just one meal. I'm fine with that. I find myself full. It looks very different than what I've been accustomed to and what I grew up in. And my family's still kind of like, that's all you eating? Like, really? And I'm just like, yeah, and I'm fine. And they've seen that I really am fine. So they're like, oh, well, what is this you're doing?
Yeah, you're better than fine. You're like, tell me again, like you've had more energy. Like what was it like for you?
I have had more energy. My blood sugar has been better. My husband recognizes, like, my moods have been better. I am keeping up with the kids. I'm outdoing the kids because I'm like, I'm good. Like, I just didn't realize how sluggish and tired I was before until I wasn't that way anymore. And then the just level of mental clarity that I've been able to have, that I'm just like, wow, it's like somebody just kind of like turned off all the chatter, and it was like my brain was like this, and now it's just like still. And I'm just like, whoa. So, I mean, I'm forever grateful for that. Like that has been the biggest thing. Like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And, is there anything you would say to someone who is thinking of coaching with me, is thinking of going sugar-free, but is on the fence? Like, what piece of advice would you give to all those women out there who are busy, feeling out of control in their lives? Like, what would you say to them?
It's going to be scary, but don't be afraid. Like, trust me, I was terrified. And then even with COVID, I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm sorry I signed up. Why did I do this? But once I trusted the process, and it took me a while, like to really trust the process. It's not an overnight cold turkey type situation, because I think that's a lot of the fear too, is just like, oh my God, from day one, she's gonna tell me I can't eat sugar again, and I'm not gonna be able to handle that. It's a gradual learning about yourself. It is a exploratory what works best for you until you come to the realization that I don't really want that anymore. And then you can just naturally kind of give it up. So don't be afraid. Trust the process. You will get there where you too are just like, I don't even want that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Listen to yourself, trust yourself, and you will be okay. You won't die, and you'll find your way that works for you.
That was the biggest part of this, learning I will not die. Feel your feelings and you will not die.
Yes.
And my brain is a drama queen.
Yes.
That was a huge part.
Oh, that's a big one. Your brain, all of you listening, your brain is a drama queen. Do not.
It is. It was so many times where I was just like, oh, I don't want to do this. It's going to take so long, blah, blah, blah. But once we worked on techniques to like really work through the drama queen, and then I do it and I'm like, see, that wasn't that bad. Like, you were just being a drama queen. Cut it out.
Right. Right. And what positive new beliefs do you have that you now believe?
I think from this experience, I recognize that only I can figure out really what is best for me. I think that you were a great guide on a journey, but at the end of the day, I had to kind of figure out what makes sense for my body. I'm the only one that can do that. And I know that sounds crazy, but that was huge. I think we are so bombarded with, do this diet, try this plan or this meal plan where you eat like eggs and whatever, and that's gonna make you lose weight, and then you do it and it doesn't work, and then you're disappointed or you can't stick with it because it's not sustainable. But once I said, okay, what do I like? What works for my body? What meals, do I enjoy? Then I was like, okay, I'm the only one can handle this. And so restoring, I think, that trust and believing that I could figure this out was a big, big deal too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's what a lot of people are afraid of, getting out of that diet mentality, because they're so used to everyone else telling us the rules and following a program. So you just trusting yourself, figuring that out for yourself is huge. Like, that's really scary for a lot of women. So that's awesome that you were able to figure that
It
out.
is still scary. No, straight up. It is still scary.
Yeah.
I even when I talk to my friends and they're like, well, what diet are you on? Like, everybody sees I'm losing weight and they're like, well, what diet are you on? And I'm like, the one where I eat what I want when I'm hungry.
Oh, I like that.
And then they kind of like, okay, fine. If you don't want to tell me, that's fine. And I'm like, but I just did.
That's so funny. They don't believe that you're telling the truth.
Yeah, nobody believes me because we're so conditioned that it must be some plan. That's the only thing that will work, is if you're on some plan.
Right, right. If someone else is telling you what to do. So what you did is really against the grain of so many people. So like, bravo, that is freaking amazing. What have you learned about yourself? that maybe you didn't mention yet?
I think the biggest, like I said, was the trust, restoring trust with myself. I didn't realize how much it had diminished. I think growing up, especially being an athlete and everything, like I showed up, I did what I said I was going to do. That had been ingrained. And as I got older and it became so much easier to just say, oh, I'll hit the snooze button. Oh, I'll stay in the bed. Oh, there's nobody checking for whether I do it. And especially as an entrepreneur, there's nobody standing over me to make sure the stuff gets done. So it's very easy to be like, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh,
Right.
I'll eat better tomorrow. Oh, I'll show up for work tomorrow. And so realizing how much I had been doing that over the last few years and how that had eroded trust with myself. Like I had stopped believing that I could do things because it's like, you're not going to show up.
Right. Right. And then you're able to mend that trust and build it with yourself. Like when you're starting to choose what you want to eat and you actually like the food you're eating and you like the choices you're making.
Yes. So that was huge in restoring the trust. It's like, okay, pick what you're going to eat what you say you're going to eat and nothing else. Not because it's being restrictive or it's because it's a diet. It's just, that's all you need. You don't have to do more than what is necessary. Like even just being able to recognize hunger in myself and saying, okay, and then hunger is gone. So you stop. And it's like, oh, wow, it sounds novel, but it's not.
Honestly, that's a hard concept for a lot of people to grasp. Like a lot. Like what? You don't clean your whole plate? Like to me, it was mind blowing. I swear to God.
No, for me too. I was raised in a family where you clean your plate or you not getting up from the table until your plate was full. So even being able to say, okay, I'm done and I'm not, it's okay. Like there's an abundance of food in the society that we live in. There is an abundance. So if I want it again, I'll have it again. Like it's okay. You don't have to have it today because it's such a scarcity and you're never going to have it ice cream again. So when I got to the point where I'm like, this ain't that good anymore, I could just kind of push back and be okay with it.
Right. Right. And really being in that abundance mentality and really knowing it's not the end, like there's so much more and feeling like it's already like what you have is enough already. That's like a huge one. And Nicola, I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me and talk with my audience and all these women who want to also be in control of their lifestyle and their weight. I appreciate you and everything you've done. And so thanks for joining me in my show. And I can't wait to see what you accomplish moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I mean, I'm just still like I'm just in awe. Like I never would have thought I would be here 4 months later. I just genuinely was like, oh, this ain't gonna work. I think having been on so many different diets and tried so many different programs and was just like, they all sell you and then you get in and it's too much and you can't handle it and then you quit and then you feel bad about yourself or you beat yourself up. Like I've been on that roller coaster for so long. I just was very apprehensive that this would work. Like I've done it all. And remember, I was like, listen, it's COVID. I'm going to eat my feelings. I don't want to do this. And that was huge too. Like now that I have gone on this journey to not abuse food or use food as a coping mechanism. I mean, real talk, like you had to get me to understand, like, I'm not going to die. Feel the feels. It's not going to be the end of the world. That was also huge, huge. And I think that with the world the way that it is, it's so easy to get caught up in that if you let your brain go there. So I never would have expected on this journey to spend so much time on my mind. And it was the best thing. Like it really was what I needed. It was, I've told people, I was like, yeah, I got a food coach, but we don't really talk about food like that. We talk about like my brain and what I'm doing. And to see where I have gotten in 4 months, I'm just still like, wow. Like I would have never thought of myself as someone that could be able to eat one meal a day. I would have never thought of myself to be someone who can be intuitive to, okay, this is what I'm in the mood for, or this is what I need to eat. I would have never thought of myself as someone who can be intuitive to, okay, this is what I'm in the mood for, or this is what I need to eat. I would have never thought of myself as someone who can be intuitive to, okay, this is what I'm in the mood for, or to be someone who could stop eating when I was genuinely just full and didn't want it, and to think of things as abundant and I can have it again if I really wanted it at a different time. I That's mind blowing. That is not what the diet world is teaching. That is not any of the stuff that, but then diets don't work. So we knew they weren't right. Um, like, this is a completely different way of looking at how to create a healthy way for you.
Right. Oh my gosh, that just gives me goosebumps. I love that you said that. Man, you said that so eloquently, and I appreciate that. And for giving hope to all those women who are maybe struggling with this. But again, thank you so much for being that example. I'm so excited for you and everything you're about to accomplish in your life.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.